Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Nothing Like a Good Book, where we dedicate the show to authors, upcoming authors, successful authors, whether you've got a massive series or whether you're struggling to get the first one out. That's fun, isn't it? We're here to discover your book and we're here to promote your book. And with a little bit of luck, we're here to help you sell your book as well, all right? The site is open. You can go to it, Nothing Like a Good Book. And say hello, do whatever you want to do. Would appreciate, though, on this particular channel that you subscribe and follow and ding-dong the bell and do everything else. Subscribers will help a lot of authors. I'd appreciate that. Well, my next author is an independent author, Bob Kelly. He grew up on the west side of Chicago in the Austin neighborhood before moving with his mother and brother and new stepfather to the North Shore suburbs of Glencoe. This is when he was 13. And he continued to play football and basketball, and he's claim to fame singing in the Catholic Church choir. Hey, that's pretty cool. Bob, I'd like to welcome you. How are you doing?
Very much, Mark. It's great to be here.
Listen, I want to bring this up here as quickly as I can because you're very proud of this book, Chicago Detective Jack Fallon, correct?
That's right. It's a series. I've got 5 that are now published, and they are all based in Chicago. And I'm very happy to be writing about my home city and inventing some great young characters and stories.
Let me ask you, what sort of singer were you, mate, in the choir? Just as a matter of interest.
Well, I started out singing when I was in 4th grade, so I was a soprano when I started. Then by the time I finished grade school and the Catholic choir, I was an alto. And then I actually sang for 2 years at the University of Wisconsin, their second highest level of singing group, the chorale, and I was a baritone and had pretty good range in the baritone category.
Very good. Very good. I could still hear you project exceptionally well. You, I wonder with writers whether they're readers, does every writer or is every writer a big reader? You wonder about that because you say that reading was already a passion for you early on. I think you're at the 12th grade level. In 6th grade, you must have been passionate to handle, to start so young, to take on reading like that, Bob.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to grow up in a literary family. My mother was a school teacher, and a lot of my older relatives, while not all of them went very far in school, they were all very literate. Uh-huh. And like many Irish people, they were all fond of telling stories. And so I grew up with a certain amount of imagination as a young child, but I was very fortunate to have a great teacher in 3rd grade. And I remember just blossoming as far as reading goes. Right. And by 6th grade, as I said, I tested as high as you could go on the reading aptitude, and that was 12th grade.
Well, you must have read a wide range of books before leaving grade school. You did attend New Trier East High School. You played basketball, continued reading voraciously, I believe. And then went to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, graduating with, would you believe, a degree in English literature. Sort of follows the natural flow, doesn't it, Bob?
Yeah, I have to say I was very much a liberal arts student. I enjoyed philosophy, political science, social, all kinds of liberal arts. But I found that the literature department brought it all together for me in the best way.
Well, this series has been very successful for you. What was the first one now? There is the 5th one, of course, and I'm showing the first 4. What was the very first book you wrote?
The very first one was The Mystery of the Exotic Escort Murders.
Right. That's number 2 here, as we can see on the screen, right? Chicago detective Jack Fallon, The Mystery of the Exotic Escort Murders. Give us a very brief overview of that.
Well, I chose to use what's referred to in Chicago as the near north, as the detective Jack Fallon's his district, which includes a couple of neighborhoods, Streeterville and River North, which contain many of the highest end hotels in the city.
Okay.
And so I had the idea that his first murder case, along with his new partner, Elena Rodriguez, would be based in that neighborhood and would involve the murder of young women at some of these high-end hotels.
Okay.
And so Jack and Elena get brought into a task force that is tasked with finding out what's happening, because within a short span, there's 5 or 6 murders of very attractive young women, and they turn out to be escorts. And so that opens up
these hookers going to these beautiful hotels.
Yes. And that opens up a world that Jack is not familiar with, and Elaine is not familiar with, and I'm not sure that a lot of my readers would be familiar with. But it's and then there's a secondary plot in the book that is very interesting, that also takes place in the near north neighborhood, where Jack and Elena get entangled with some gang members that are coming up to that neighborhood to rob people right on the street in broad daylight.
Okay.
And so they have 2 different storylines going on as they work through.
Storylines. When you started the very first book, did you have a series in mind?
Yes, I definitely did. Yep.
All right. What was number 2?
The second book is called The Mystery of the Egg of Chaos. And that also involves that neighborhood, and in particular, the Chinese trade consulate.
Oh, okay.
And so Jack and Elena get called into a murder scene that starts out as a fire. It looks like an arson in the Gold Coast neighborhood.
Okay.
And it turns out that the Chinese consulate is renovating their headquarters on East Erie Street. And so they have rented a kind of a luxury townhouse, and they're having a formal dinner for some of the leading business people in Chicago.
Right.
And they have arranged with the Art Institute to display a Chinese artifact that the Art Institute often has 3 or 4 different shows going on, which might be Egyptian or they might be Greek, but they've got a Chinese show going on that has some artifacts from the Han Dynasty, and one of them is a golden cased, circle of the Egg of Chaos, which is the yin yang symbol made of jade, and it's 2,000 years old. And during the course of the murder that happens, the artifact gets stolen. And so throughout the book, they're trying to find out who murdered the Chinese consulate general and where did the Egg of Chaos go.
Okay. So must have ended up in a good place. You started writing when? COVID? When COVID hit? Before COVID or when?
Yeah, I actually... I was working as a criminal defense and family court lawyer in upstate New York. And in 2020, in May, I started writing. The courts actually closed down in the middle of March, along with everything else, it seemed like. Right. And so being a trial attorney, I didn't really have any work. So I decided that I had been thinking about writing, and I had done a lot of writing as a young man. Right. Before I became a single parent and a solo practitioner lawyer, I wrote some short novels. I wrote a full-length novel. I wrote some screenplays, but then it all got interrupted for more than 25 years. But I thought that I had the time, and so I just said, okay, I'm going to figure out what I want to write about, and then I'm just going to do it.
Now's a good time to do it. Yep, can't do much else, right, at that time?
Right. So I decided that I was going to write three. Once I decided what I was going to do, I was going to write 3 of these stories in 3 years while I continued to be a lawyer. And regardless if anybody ever read them or if I got anything published or whatever,
right.
I wanted to, and I did it. Like exactly 3 years, I had 3 of these books.
That was a goal that you went after, and you achieved it. Well done. Well done. Chicago, you chose it, as the setting for your stories. I mean, you know it well, right?
Yeah.
You've lived there most of your life. The work as a criminal defense attorney, that must have contributed to, writing a series like this.
Well, there's no question that I gained a great deal of understanding of how the process works, and not only from my perspective and the court room perspective, but how from the police perspective, because in every criminal case, there are policemen and women involved. So I'm dealing with them through the prosecutors usually, but in many cases, I'm dealing directly with the police officers, the detectives, sometimes task force officers. Mm-hmm. So I think that it definitely gave me an insight into how Jack Fallon might view things.
Bit of a hero, this Jack Fallon. Would you say, Bob, that there are advantages to, begin your writing career later in life? It's like you've gone out and lived a bit of life and sown a few oats, whatever, up in the farmland. But
yeah, I have no doubt that I draw from all of my life's experiences in my writing, because regardless of what subject matter you choose, you're still, in the end, at least for what I'm writing about, I'm still dealing with people. And so, right. Yeah, I definitely think that without doing a lot of writing, except for legal writing, which is very different than creative writing, right. I became a better writer over the years without actually doing creative writing.
When you look at these, detective series, I mean, Jack's not that old. Maybe, I don't know, what would you place him at? 28, 32?
No, he starts out in book 1 at 29.
Okay, 29. Now
he turns 30 at the first chapter of book 2.
Oh, okay. Well, he's still hanging in there. He's pretty strong. What was number 3 then?
The third book is called The Mystery of the Legally Dead.
The Mystery of the Legally Dead. Now, where's that one, Joe? I read some.
Well, that's you probably don't figure out exactly what the why the title until you get into the book, but it has to do with a number of lawyers and people involved in the legal justice system are being targeted and murdered by a really nefarious organization that is involved not only with trying to disrupt the legal system and society in general, but they're involved in carjackings, and they get involved with some Russian mobsters in Chicago. It's a bit of a complex story, but I think the title makes a lot of sense once you get into the story.
For over 50 years, Daniel Roth has lived for that moment. A 2-time Grammy Award winner, former publisher at Simon & Schuster, and executive at HarperCollins, he's helped countless writers turn ideas into art. Whether it's a novel, a screenplay, or a documentary, Daniel brings the experience of Hollywood and publishing together, helping creators find the story that truly connects. Now he's sharing that passion, teaching, guiding, and inspiring writers of all ages to make
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Roth. I'm an editor. I can help you find your story. Give me a call.
You know, there's often a lot of more and more of the emails I'm getting anyway are potential authors that watch the show, Nothing Like a Good Book. And, you know, they always have a question. They wonder why you had a burning all your life. You wanted to be an author. That was something you really wanted to be and wanted to do. And you set your mind to it and you did it. And we've talked about the advantages as you got older, but is there a bit of advice you'd give aspiring young authors right now? If they've got an idea of something like a Jack Fallon, you know, or some sort of a mystery series or Criminal Minds series, what would you recommend?
Well, I think if you're able, you know, if you have a situation, I would try to make it happen. You know, I would try to make time, and even if you can only do a little bit of writing, if you can do it on a consistent basis. Once I started, I'm involved in my writing and you know, different things involved in the you know, making a series work. I'm basically involved in it every day. And I started it while I was still a full-time lawyer, although I have to say I was no longer a single parent raising a child, you know, so that part of gave me, you know, I think that helped. And then COVID spurred it on. It just, you know, if you really want to do it, don't lose the dream. And once you start it, stick to it. That's all I can say.
Well, let me ask you then, what part of the writing process you know, did you enjoy the most? And for that matter, what part of the process surprised you mostly?
Well, definitely the part I enjoy the most. Like, for instance, right now I'm in the middle of what I call the creative process, and that's creating the story for book 6. And that's always the most fun for me. I mean, it's fun because I start out with a premise, and once I know where I'm starting and where I'm ending, then I'll start writing. And then the story in many ways takes on a life of its own.
Interesting.
And I don't always know how I'm going to get there or how Jack or Elena are going to get there. And so I'm along for the ride in a way. And that's a lot of fun.
You. Automatic writing, basically. Open with an open and a close, and you figure out, okay, now go to it. Give me a story.
Well, I mean, it's a process that, you know, lasts over time. You know, I'll have ideas. I always want to know where I'm going next, but I don't always know how I'm going to get there. But then my mind works. It might be when I'm kind of half asleep and half awake, or when I'm swimming, sort of in a meditative state. Then it just comes to me as to how we're going to get there.
Surely, Bob, if you're writing a series like this, wouldn't number 2 book or number 3 or 4, wouldn't some of that start coming in on number 1 and bug you, get in the way sort of thing?
Yeah. Well, no, it doesn't really get in my way. Like I know what the basic premise of book 7 is, and I've known it for over a year.
Right.
I mean, so I'm usually one book ahead. At least I have some idea of what it's going to be. So I just let it percolate, you know. But I don't find that it gets in the way. I think it kind of helps me to shape, like, for instance, in book 1, there's no question that because I knew a little, you know, something about where book 2 was going, that it helped to shape the ending of book 1.
Right. Yeah, I could see that. It would sort of, maybe it would even go, hey, I better not go that way because I'd like to keep that up my sleeve for book 2 sort of thing, you know. So, you know,
so a lot of times it's just there. And then it comes out because I already, you know, I've had some amazing kind of revelations, I guess, that I didn't see coming. And then all of a sudden when I'm ready, I'm getting there and I say, yeah, okay, this is what Jack has to do, or this is what Elena has to do.
Right.
And it might be to set up something that's going to happen a book or two later.
What I've got up on the screen now is where people can contact you, have a look at your books and different things, be able to. But the biggest thing to order from is this one here, bobkellyauthor.com, correct? This is where the books can be purchased from.
Yeah, and you can get them on Amazon, and you can get them on Kindle, or you can get them through any of the bookstores that virtually any bookstore can order my books if they don't already have them.
Right. But that's a good one there. There's no doubt about that. A question about the two main characters. We're talking Jack, we're talking Elaine, right? Was the
Elena.
Elena, I beg your pardon. If it was, no doubt you've had this in your mind as well, but who do you have playing them if it was a series, a TV series?
Wow. I don't really keep up with the young actors that would play these people, but I see them as young, attractive, dynamic, tough. Jack is a little bit of a maverick. He's a little bit. Elena is a beautiful. She's a little bit older. She's in book one, I believe she's 33, and they become partners on the first day that the book starts. Jack lost his partner because he wanted to transfer out. He was an older veteran guy, and then Elena comes in, and she's completely different in so many ways. But as far as Jack goes, I think of a young Brad Pitt.
There you go. I was thinking Pitt, particularly now he's got a little bit older. He's got that maturity look at his face. Yeah.
I mean, Brad would be too old now, but I when I think of some of the movies that I saw him in when he was in his 30s, I would say that would work. And then Elena is a strong, really good-looking Latina with long, shoulder-length brown hair, and she's tough, and she's a lot of fun.
Well, you've described the main characters in the series. Let's talk about Chicago. I've only ever been there once, very briefly, for a wedding with my dear friend Judy, but I haven't been back to really study Chicago in the right time of the year, the weather-wise, I mean, because I don't know how you live in that stuff, I got to tell you. But, by the way, Kelly's a good name, I had an uncle who was named Kelly, and we had a famous outlaw in Australia under the name of Ned Kelly. And he was our very first big outlaw, back in 1883 or some crap, when they set him out from God knows where, when they set out all to Van Diemen's Land. But anyway, that's a good Catholic name. Chicago has remained the same, or has it changed a lot? Well,
it's, that's one of the things that I really wanted to capture about Chicago was, it's an extremely dynamic, always ever changing place, and it always has been. But there's a constant there of a dynamism and a personality. It's kind of like a no bullshit personality, and just a great sense of humor and just a lot of energy, a lot of fun. But
Chicago, as they say, yeah, I meet Chicagoans here in the West, and you got a distinct accent. You're a little different, but and I guess Chicago, New York. I mean, the two heavies on that side of the world compared to LA on this side of the world. Readers, okay, what age group? I mean, who are you hoping are going to read the series?
Well,
Jack.
I intended to try to write stories that would appeal to a wide range of age groups and demographics. And so far from my responses that I've gotten from men and women and older people and younger people, I found that it's been well received. My stories have been well received from every demographic that I know of so far, which I'm very happy about.
So maybe it's your style of writing. Are you easy to read, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I intended to be, and I've been told that multiple times, that my stories are easy to read and they flow. And
there you go. There's something for you up and coming authors. Keep it in mind that it's easy to read and keep a flow going, so that someone can follow it. Can't wait to get to the next page. Those tropes and those, who taught you to write? Did anybody teach you anything? Or did you just?
No. People taught me how to read when I was a kid.
All right.
But no one really taught me how to write. But I think that because I read so much as a child, I kind of almost, and as a young adult, that I think that was kind of like the lessons or the teaching was in the reading.
Yeah.
I think.
Pays to read. It pays to read. The kids today, it's difficult, I know, but some of them are reading more off the the electronics and the iPhones and all that type of thing. But get a book. We've got readers.
There's nothing like it. It's because you as a reader, you bring your own imagination and your own experience, and so I feel that that's an important part of the way I write, is to give enough detail so that the reader can walk right into it and then fill in the blanks.
That's the beauty of it. It's the same as, I was in radio for many, many years, and I always refer to it as the theater of the mind. Video is great, but you really got to watch it. You can do a lot of things when you're just listening. And same with podcasting. You could be mowing the lawns or walking the dog, and you got your little things in your ears. Because reading is very much the theater of the mind. It's
absolutely
the reader's on a journey, but it's my imagination of that street, my imagination of where Jack is, and you've created sort of, the suggestion of the scene, but I've got to put my thoughts into it of what it looks like. You know what I mean? And it's different to everybody, isn't it? It's different to everybody.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it. Really, is that everybody will bring something different to the stories, and I imagine that everybody will picture Jack and Elena and some of the villains and the other characters in the stories.
Right.
They'll bring their own pictures and their own experiences to it, and if when they do that, they enjoy it more because they're part of the creative process.
It's very much so. And with a series, you really want to look forward to the next book. You look forward to what's going to happen to Jack now. Did he die? Did he not die?
Yeah. I found that when most people, when they start them, they want to keep with them, and
that's good.
So I've had a lot of feedback from people that have read all 5, and I've had feedback from people that have read 3 or 4, and I find it interesting too that I still have some people that like book 1 the best, and I have people that like book 2, book 3, book 4, and book 5 the best.
Okay. Well, who knows? You may go on for God knows where, book 10.
Yeah, maybe. I hope so.
Listen, down the bottom there is authorBobKelly.com on the font going across the bottom of the screen. That's where you can buy the book directly. Of course, it's on Amazon. What isn't? And That's probably the best thing to do, isn't it? People can buy directly from your site at bobkellyauthor.com. Yes?
Yeah, and I have a YouTube channel that will have some videos, including this podcast eventually when we get it.
All right. That's interesting. So, are you getting videos made of what? Of each book, sort of thing, or?
Well, right now we're really at the kind of beginning stages of developing the YouTube channel, but it's up and it's we've got content and certainly it's going to be centered around my books. But we hope to make the YouTube channel entertaining and and you know and something that a lot of people will be able to enjoy. And also promote my books at the same time.
Okay. Just tell me, because I didn't have it to whack up on the fonts, what is the actual YouTube channel?
Well, if you go to YouTube and put in bobkellyauthor.com,
okay,
it will pop up.
Okay. bobkellyauthor.com, and it bobs up. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Well, Chicago detective, you're on your way, Jack Fallon. Now, don't get shot or do anything wrong. And hang in there, man, because that's what you've got to keep doing. And I got to say, Bob, I wish you well. It's a terrific series. I haven't had a chance to read every book. I've got a room just stacked up to catch up with. And Chris was fortunate enough to do it, I can tell you, of that period. All New Year's Eve. Books. I'm not a party goer, not anymore anyway. But pleasure speaking with you. Thoroughly enjoyed. I'm glad you came on the show. And it's nice to have somebody with a series. You're the first that way. So you never know. And maybe a film one day might come out of it all, or a series. You'll keep in touch, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. It's been nice to meet you, and good luck with your endeavors as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you indeed. So stick around, whatever you do. Bob, don't go away, because we're going to make sure that we're totally recorded, okay? What a lovely fellow, Bob Kelly, ladies and gentlemen, author of his series. He's very proud of them, isn't he? Good. So he should be. So you should be. Jack Fallon, detective there in Chicago, huh? Well, I grew up watching American movies and TV series, and, Chicago with all those gangsters and prohibition and God knows what. Tough joint, huh? Tough place, just like the Bears. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Nothing Like a Good Book, dedicated to authors. Why don't you go to Nothing Like a Good Book? You could even win something there now that we're open. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff on it. And pick your favorite review. And if you get drawn out, it's a monthly draw. You could end up with a complimentary interview. All right, so keep that in mind. In the meantime, it's been lovely to have you along. Mark Bishop signing off, and I look forward to seeing you soon.